Okay, so in this next section, we're going to talk about system analysis, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction of this section of what we're going to be covering. In this section, we're going to basically be looking at the capabilities of system analysis. Back here, and the first capability we're going to talk capability is we're going to refine and define the system actors. As we transition to system analysis, we're going away from the operational analysis where we're looking at what all the actors in the system need to transitioning to now what the system has to deliver. So when we go to this phase, we're going to build upon the operational analysis work that we did, but we're also now going to refine that and more detailed on just specifically what the system is going to do. Now, an example of this is that we've already seen in the existing model where we identified that solar power is going to be used as the main source of power to basically with this charger. Now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to refine the capabilities that we saw in the earlier phase, but now the capabilities are more focused on the actual system. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to refine and allocate the system functions to the system and the actors, entities of the system. And like the previous example, we did that with the solar power. Basically, the solar source was coming from the sun. We're then going to refine and define the system functional chains to deliver the respective capabilities. And then finally, we're going to basically go through the same process we did before of sharing the system analysis. A little more detailed on the steps. We're going to start with operational analysis content we already created. And we're going to go through a process called transitioning. We're going to transition the information that was created in the operational analysis so we can use it in the system analysis. And you can see the transitioning in the red flow here on this diagram. You'll see that we basically take the operational capabilities, we bring them over, also bring over the operational activities. Those turn into mission capabilities and essentially system functions that we're going to use to basically detail out what the system's going to do. Then we get into refine and allocate the system functions to the actors and entities of the system. It's going to be pretty simple because we're not going to be really adding any new content. We're just going to be limiting the content more to the system. We could, at this point in time, decompose, so we can actually add more functions and decompose the functions into a little more detail, and that's a pretty typical thing to do. And then in the green flow here, we're going to refine and define the system functional chains so that now they're being delivered by the system capabilities are basically delivering those functional chains. And those functional chains are basically starting from the operational ones and now are basically becoming the system function chains. And then finally, we can start sharing the analysis with others and let people review that analysis. Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to the next section.